Hello, everyone that's kind of in the pitch room. Welcome to MeetFounders live pitches. Here, I'm not going to introduce the judges because they're on the handout and the information, and obviously we have to get straight into kind of the pitches and time slots. But we're going to start off first with Loadie, and it's going to be Chris that's going to be presenting.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris Johnson and I will be presenting our new business Loadie. Loadie is an online and mobile disruptive marketplace within the transport and logistics industry. Our fully automated system aims to become the market dominating application, simplifying the process from start to finish while generating additional revenue for drivers with spare capacity and reducing costs for companies looking to send loads. Here's an overview of the Loadie team. So currently we're a team of 6. There's myself, Jamie Keenan and Carl Wilson, who between us, we've got vast experience within the logistics, retail and e-commerce industries. And below you can also see some of our other investors and consultants. Okay, so what is the problem within the industry today? The main issue within the logistics and transport industry that it's very, very old fashioned and lacks a lot of innovation and technology. This can lead to a lack of visibility of the delivery process. Also, from a driver's perspective, this means that they can often struggle to find regular work. So the current solutions within the industry, they are expensive subscription-based platforms for both the customer and the driver, and they're only partially automated. And again, from a driver's perspective, this can often mean that they have long waits to get paid. So what is Loadie and what? Loadie is free to use with no subscription fees. We offer fast payments, paperless system, special built-in features such as a built-in sat-nav, report issue function, inbuilt driver app wallet, as you can see from the image on the right-hand side, and innovative and unique notification processes, including invoicing and PODs. So Loadie basically can target anybody that's looking to send a load, but these are the main markets that we will be looking to target and work with when we go live. The revenue model for Loadie is quite simple. We take 15% flat fee from every load that is put onto our system. There is obviously additional opportunities through advertising, white label opportunities, global expansion into Europe, US, and the rest of the world. As well, with the sticky nature of the app, we think that there is a great opportunity to create a logistics marketplace for all logistical needs. So in terms of investment, what we're looking for, we are looking for £1 million worth of investment. This will cover the further development of the app, obviously building a sales and marketing team to support that, general marketing to promote awareness around the app, and to accelerate the growth of the app once we go live. To date, we've personally raised £40,000 and pre-seed investment of £75,000. From a financial perspective, we aim to break even in Q1 of year 2, and by the end of year 3, a turnover of 49.6 million with a profit of 5.6 million. The market and competition opportunities, basically there's only 2 main players currently within the B2B exchange market. That is the Transport Exchange Group and Return Loads. Between them, they post over 500,000 jobs a month, and that equates to £560 million worth of business. And both of those models rely, as I said, on the subscription model. Loadie, with our model, we aim to be able to take 8.8% market share from our competitors by the end of year 3. In terms of an exit strategy, we believe the most likely scenario for our exit would be an acquisition by a direct competitor, or possibly even a logistics company that's looking to add some automation and some modern technology like Loadie within their business. Thank you very much for listening to the pitch. If you're interested in any more information, then please feel free to get in touch. Obviously, we've got the ability to demo the app and the system to anyone that is interested, and we can obviously provide full set of financials should anyone wish to see them. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for the pitch, Chris. I'm happy to go first with a couple of questions that I have. So in regards to the revenue model, you mentioned that your competitors are currently offering subscription models. I'd like to understand why you feel the percentage would be preferred, the percentage margin would be preferred over the subscription model. And then my second question would be in regards to that 15%, is that in line with industry averages, or would that be expected? I guess it almost sounds like it might be on the higher end, but I don't really know the industry too well, so it'd be great to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. I think basically in terms of this, where we see the advantage with a commission model, if you like, taking a commission out of each load, is that basically the customer sending the load is only paying for what they use. So, some people will use the application day in, day out, absolutely fine. Other models, other customers may just, there may be people that just want to send things fairly infrequently. Obviously, subscribing to something that is an expensive subscription model isn't going to be right for every business. In terms of the 15%, I mean, we did a lot of work on where to pitch it, and to be honest, it worked out well because it allowed basically us to still take our commission, but the customer who's sending the load to still, in some cases, make a saving. But the driver, the way that it works as well is that when the job is posted, it's posted with the driver seeing our fee taken off. So the price that they see is the price they get. So when they're accepting that job, they know what they're getting, and there's no hidden costs, if you like.
Okay, thank you.
I'm happy to follow up with that. So I've got a question around the competition. There are two companies that come to mind that play in a similar space. One of them is OnTruck, and the other is Sender. Now, what I don't know, and maybe you can tell me, Chris or Pavel, is are you guys targeting maybe SMEs more rather than the larger, say, freight forwarders, just as an example?
I think again is the point is we can, as I touched on with one of the screens, Loadie is with its model actually so open to so many different industries. Through our beta testing, a lot of our business was actually brought on by freight forwarders actually, which was quite interesting. But having said that, we did also have some business from SMEs, so from people supplying to retail, people, wholesalers, that type of thing. So I think that's the thing, is that actually the flexibility, whereas the likes of OnTruck and as you mentioned, is probably much more geared up to solely freight forwarders. Yeah. Our versatility covers us everything from a small van up to a full load, and we can obviously we have capacity to cater for any business looking to send from a pallet upwards, basically.
Okay, and in terms of the customer, I guess segments that you've seen to date, who uses the platform the most, just out of interest?
It was interesting. It was freight forwarders, to be honest. We had some contracts actually with some haulage. In construction was interesting. We got some good business from construction. That is certainly an opportunity that we see. Okay. Another interesting one is actually airlines, because airlines pay a huge amount of money to move something from A to B very, very quickly. Okay. And they will pay, quite often pay over the odds, and for them to be able to just put something on and pay 15% of a load is certainly an area we target.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
I've got a couple questions around your current revenue and valuation. Can you tell me a bit about what your revenue trajectory has over the last several months, particularly during the later stages of 2020? Has COVID affected that revenue, and what was your revenue like before COVID?
So basically, in terms of our revenue, we've just come out of beta testing. So in terms of the revenue, what I'll do is I'll probably connect you with our finance lead afterwards, if that's okay. Who can run through the finances in a bit more detail with you, in terms of the trajectory and where we were at. But we're in beta testing throughout 2020, and we managed to attract, in terms of some stats work to give you, we attracted 128 customers throughout beta testing. We've got over 3,000 vehicles. And our average cost per load was £149 per load, basically. So all of our finances are worked around that. So if it's okay in terms of a deep dive into the financials, if I could connect you with our finance guy afterwards.
I was just looking to kind of get an understanding of where you were in terms of revenue. And then in terms of your valuation, how did you get from whatever your current valuation is to your current raise at the $1 million mark?
Sorry, unfortunately, your time is up.
Right.
Sorry, I'm sure you guys can connect after that and finish off that question. Yeah, it was a great pitch, Chris. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We've got Nick next up from MicroEra Power.
So my name's Nick Pascoe. I'm the Managing Director of MicroEra Power Limited, and I'm here to introduce our Therma Plus energy storage system for commercial buildings. We all know that there's a lot of disruption in the energy supply and demand market. Everything is becoming electrified, There's a big move away from fossil fuels towards renewables, so decarbonisation. And there's also quite a lot going on in decentralisation to grid where there are local electrical demands. So those disruptive elements have some consequences. First of all, there's quite a lot of supply uncertainty, and it also introduces some very dynamic pricing into the market. I've got some US examples, but there are equal ones here in the UK. We can see that in Texas, they give away renewable energy at night, whereas in California, when you've got peak demand, the prices go through the roof. So what's the answer? The answer is to, first of all, to avoid the peak loads, and that means both as a total grid, but as an individual, and also to use energy when it's off peak rather than at peak. So the simple answer is to introduce energy storage into your system. So the MicroEra Power solution is ThermaPlus. It's a high-density phase change material in a twin tank system. It has some pretty smart software that optimizes the charge and discharge sequence. It's very safe, it's compact, it's durable. We can use it in new or retrofit projects, and it integrates very well with other decarbonized energy solutions. So how do you get the payback on this? You can see here there's an example of a typical mid-size hotel application where they're spending $30,000 a year on energy. With the ThermaPlus system, we're giving them an $80,000 a year saving for $143,000 installation cost. How does it deliver the saving? Simply, you charge up the thermal storage system at off-peak rates, and then you discharge it when the power rates are at their peak. So one of the obvious questions is, well, let's put battery storage in there. You can see from this chart that battery storage is significantly more expensive, but also thermal energy storage is better from a physics point of view and from an overall efficiency point of view. And what we're offering the end customer is reduced energy costs, good return on investment, improved energy supply resilience, and we support the end customer's green credentials. We have access to an excellent facility in the US used for energy development of other technologies, and we have full access to that right now. We also have a very strong team of combining technical skills, heating and ventilation, market knowledge skills, my own skills of commercializing technology, taking it to market, and our CEO also is an entrepreneur. So in terms of the 1.5 million seed capital we're looking to file various patents relating to this solution, to build up the engineering team, to a credible pilot system, and to do customer demonstrations. So I hope that you will support our business and invest with us. Thank you.
Nick, I've got a question. So how does, what's the initial capital outlay for this? Is it literally just the 100 and, I think it was 100,000?
Obviously, it's very application specific, but yes, this example is about $120,000. It can rise to $250,000, or it can be less than that. It depends on the scale of the battery that we're going to install.
And what scale does it go up to, out of interest? Like how big can you go?
We're right now we're focusing on the 0.5 to 1 megawatt market, but okay. It's very modular, so you could add additional tanks and increase that if you wanted to.
Okay. And I guess just finally, before I hog the mic completely. You're, I'm guessing you're focusing on B2B customers mainly, right?
It is entirely B2B, yeah.
Okay.
Other players have gone after the domestic market with much smaller systems, and I think that's much more difficult to implement and to make money out of.
Okay.
I'll just jump in here with regards to your equity models. So are you raising exclusively via equity types of transactions, or what types of financial instruments are you looking to execute with regards to this financing?
Right now, we're looking for equity. Yes, we started on family and friends. We've put in a few $100,000 so far, and this is the first time we have a packaged up product. But we also have some small amount of grant money. So New York State is seeding the market for such technologies. But there's also grants in the UK that we are making early. So we do want to use grant money, but not rely on it.
Just a quick suggestion about that. So if you're looking at the US, perhaps look into program-related investment via foundations, because that can get you access to investment capital at lower rates of returns via private foundations in the US if you set up what's called a low profit limited liability company in a state that offers that type of company structure. And I believe that that would be a much stronger model for you with regards to your raise at this point, unless you have a very solid valuation based on revenue, which it sounds like you don't have yet. So I don't really see that there would be a basis for equity deals at this stage until you develop new structures that would facilitate different types of innovative investment vehicles beyond simply equity deals going forward post-grant.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question from me, Nick. Thanks for the pitch. In terms of the hardware and software element of your offering, which are you focusing on? And as a result, what's the capital outlay required if it's hardware heavy?
It's actually turning into more software heavy. The AI element of it, there are a number of companies already building things like weather forecasting and demand-based models. But it's a matter of capturing that information and integrating it into the specific customer application. So we see this as being the hardware being very standardized and modularized, but the software being the element that we would customize for the customer and then continue to customize it as the energy supply market evolves and different sources of energy come into play.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And I think in your deck, just a suggestion from me, I didn't quite understand from your product slide what exactly you did. So I would definitely recommend just kind of cleaning that up a little bit and perhaps removing some of the words and some of the technical kind of jargon, just so that it's a little bit clearer for someone who's not from that industry. And I would also say that what you said around the software being the focus, I would definitely also add that in there, because if you are going for equity investment, VC investors can sometimes get a little bit concerned if it's hardware, because it's definitely less scalable than software, and there's also a much higher capital outlay. And of course, they wouldn't want their entire initial investment to be going straight to hardware. They would want it to be going to sales and marketing and hires and those are other areas in the business. So I would definitely recommend adding that into your product slide as well.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Nick, and I'm really glad you could join me tonight to hear about how Purcell is reinventing the asthma inhaler. First of all, I'd just like to do a bit of a history on the classic inhaler. It's been designed in the 50s, it's been relatively unchanged, and it's still highly stigmatized. And we kind of see that as a similar story as what glasses used to be, and kind of where it's ended up now, where it's become something that's been is desirable. And that's kind of what we are taking the inhaler on. It's a journey of taking it from something that's stigmatized into something that's accessible and cool. We kind of, what we're doing is we're making a smart inhaler that captures behavioral and epidemiological data, and we provide valuable reporting and monitoring. And what that really means is that we kind of capture and monitor the whens and the wheres and the hows of your usage and your dosage, which is kind of sent to a smart device, and that could be a watch or a phone. And the app captures other data that's going to be around your health metrics, and that's going to be your heart rate and your pulse oximetry. And then we utilize the Internet of Things to kind of capture the environmentals or the atmospheric stuff. And that's going to be your air quality and your pollen and your pollution, and also any humidity and stuff that kind of affects the condition. And all of this together allows us to better understand how well your lungs are working and, really what's going on around you. And that's kind of during an event, like what we call an event. So to put it simply, we make it it's simple to understand what's happening to you in real time. There's a lot of asthmatics globally, and that's 339 million, and 420,000 people die a year. And through studies, it's understood that 46% of these deaths could be avoidable. And these are people who are, it's parents or children, or it could even be your brother or sister, or one of your friends, and it's preventable. So what we do is we kind of monitor your dosage and your usage, and create reports that can be sent to yourself, but also to carers, and that might be a mum or dad, or it would be your general practice, so that they can monitor whether or not you're using your medications when you should be. So the main kind of takeaways is of what the needs are for the disease is that it's highly stigmatized, and we think that we can diminish the stigma with a good-looking inhaler. We need to increase adherence and reduce A&E and hospitalizations, and we also need to reduce the financial burden. And to kind of do that, you need a smart device. Before I kind of wrap up, I still need to talk about the team. We're a highly skilled team with various backgrounds, and our strategic partners are global leaders who bring decades of experience and knowledge. And lastly is just the funding that we're looking for, and that's we're looking to raise £2.5 million over 3 stages. The first stage is feasibility and proof of principles. The second's prototyping and pilot production, and then the third's production and to market. I think I'm going to wrap it up there because I'm probably going to run out of time. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Thanks a lot, Nick. A very good presentation. From my side, I just want to understand a little bit more about the main value proposition. So, is Nick still here?
Sorry, I just dropped off there. Yep.
Yes. So what I want to understand is the main value proposition. So is it more of a design play, or is it more of a software play, or is there something else that I perhaps don't see?
Yeah, sure. It kind of falls into all three. It's a kind of product play. It is an aesthetical number as well, but also it's the data in the program. So there's other solutions out there that kind of focus on just the data, and they can't capture everything. But the whole kind of problem of asthma is that it's got a stigma. It's not cool, and you can't get the data inside the device currently at the moment. So, or the hardware, I should say. So we're kind of taking all of it and putting it together in one package. Yeah, we've had a really good response from industry leaders, and that's either manufacturing or the NHS. And I suppose the kind of benefit is we're looking for a copay kind of model where it's either going to be big pharmaceutical or the NHS kind of funding or subsidising or what you would call sponsoring the device, so that the end user doesn't have to fork out as much money to get the benefits as well as everybody else in the eco. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
I'm happy to go next. Thanks for the pitch, Nick. A quick question for me was around the market size. So one of the things that I noticed was that the global market size for around asthma was 1 billion by 2026, if that's correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would just have maybe just have a think about kind of how that would look once you segment it, because in my head I'm thinking once that's segmented for the geos that you would be able to realistically cover in the next 5 years, assume 10 to 20% market penetration, you're kind of looking at a kind of obtainable market size in the hundreds of millions, which would be probably smaller than what the average investor would be looking for. So I guess my question would be, would you be able to expand that market size? I mean, is this relevant to anyone outside of asthma, people with asthma? So and in that case, I would definitely include other market sizes as well. So maybe for the kind of anything in respiratory illnesses as well as asthma, in order to really show how the market that you can capture is a lot larger than that kind of 100, 200 million.
Sure. Yeah. So look, so you've got asthma as one of the big respiratories, and COPD probably eclipses that by about 60 million. And so you've also got the ability to enter the CBD or kind of therapeutics market on that side, potentially even nicotine replacement therapy as well. Kind of depends on how you look at the product and where you want it to go. But yeah, so the market size is considerably larger than a billion people. So
yeah, I'll definitely add that in then.
Yeah. Hey, thanks.
Nick, can you tell me a bit about the impact of your manufacturing process? Have you looked at where these devices will be manufactured and under what conditions? Do you have any policies and procedures in place when it comes to the community and employee impact business models associated with your manufacturing?
Yeah, so what we're going to focus on is kind of the circular economy models. And what we want to do is minimize as much kind of transportation and freighting that happens with these things. And so we're going to look at manufacturing directly in Australia for the kind of Asia Pac area, which would be New Zealand and kind of Indonesia areas. And then England would kind of cover Europe, and then America, Mexico kind of way. So we're going to try and minimize that as much as possible. And then when it comes to materials, we're going to be looking at substitutes for leather, for pouches and accessories that kind of will go with it as well. And where we can, recycled materials, and that'll include plastics and metals. So we don't necessarily have anything in place at the moment when it comes to ensuring that, and I think this is kind of the question, that we're not using underpaid people. Yeah, but nothing's in place at the moment.
Nick, your time is just up there, so it's a great place to end.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for the pitch.
Thank you.
And, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Tony, and I'm the founder and CEO of Continental Traveller Limited. CT is a B2B prop tech business that operates in niche and very focused marketplaces, and it operates globally across all the continents, hence the name Continental Traveller. It's absolutely not a tour operator and not a travel agent. Our platforms enable holiday home sales professionals to increase their lead generation and their sales. We're not a startup with an idea waiting to be monetized. Over the last 2 years, we've been busy building the platforms, growing the team, and signing up blue chip paying clients. The problem that our B2B customers, which are essentially estate agents, letting agents, and holiday park operators, is that there's no compelling alternative platforms than to list their rental and sales properties on platforms that are specifically for and focused on the products they want to sell. Booking.com and Airbnb have had their issues well publicized. Customers are left frustrated. Other platforms, they don't provide tech solutions. And our solution is to provide a suite of platforms that has transparent pricing, low monthly subscription fees, and gives the opportunity to cross-sell the products. And more importantly, it allows our B2B customers to list their rentals and sales properties. The takeaway from this slide is essentially that the markets we operate in are huge. They are global markets and growing. So there's plenty of opportunity for all players to participate in them. We've got a very experienced team, very strong networks, and a proven track record. And together we can execute the plan. Some of our influential key advisors, investors. In terms of revenue streams, we basically have two main ones. We've got the commission revenue from holiday bookings. The commission is basically between 8 and 15%. The average booking value we model is £1,000, but the high caliber assets and chalets and villas we have on the platform typically go for 10,000 plus a night. On the monthly recurring revenue side, this is from the estate agents, property developers, letting agents and holiday parks. The average ticket price per month per listing is £200. We've got two other additional revenue channels as well. If a sales lead results in a property being sold, we will get 2% commission on that. Typical property prices are 200 up to about 3 million, although we do have properties on there up to £25 million for sale. Our last revenue channel is to be introduced later this year, and this is for private owners listing their properties. Average price we'll be charging there is £200 per annum. In terms of traction, we've got some high quality marquee names on there on both the estate agent side and on the holiday park side. The expand strategy, a lot of our existing clients and groups, we've contracted with a few of them, but there was an opportunity, a big opportunity to delve deeper into the group or the network of agents. A good example is Capi France with 3,000 agents we can go at.
Tony, your time is up there.
Excellent. Thanks for the pitch. Very clear. First question, probably the obvious one. You're post revenue, right?
Yeah, we're generating revenues circa 3,000 MRR a month. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you've been live for how long, roughly?
2 years, but the first year was basically developing the platforms, building the websites.
Okay.
It was a one-man band for the first year and a half, and then
Okay.
we brought in Karen.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. And I probably missed this, or maybe you didn't get to it yet. How much are you raising?
1 million, and that's largely for 2/3 marketing, 600k marketing cost, 200 building the team, and 100 for ops and tech.
Well, first of all, Tony, thank you very much for a very good presentation, very clear. I just want to ask whether you already have enough data to make a business case about your clients, and whether you can say that, without my software, a typical client would be making X number of leads, but with my software, it allows my clients to increase the number of leads by that much, increasing their revenue by that much, and the return on investment from using my software is 3x. Is there something like that you can do?
Yeah, well, exactly, and we've got that. So if you're a typical estate agent, you've also got a letting business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you go onto like Salon Chez, which is a French network, or Rightmove International, you can only list your properties for sale. Our platform, you can list the rentals and properties for sale. Also, when you list your villa, for example, on my Villa Finder, which went live last week, that means your property is in a core database. And should you so choose, so the villa is in the Caribbean, it will also automatically get listed on my Caribbean villa platform. The beauty of having, so we've got my Chalet Finder, my Villa Finder, and my holiday parks all live. There's another 3 to come out in Q2, and that will complete the circle. Each of the platforms speak to each other, so you've got referral traffic. And what our feedback from our holiday parks and all our other B2B customers is they absolutely love the idea of having a much wider audience looking at their products. So if you're looking for a villa in Spain, you might want to also look at a holiday park if you've got a family of 4, for example. So the tendency these days is to have lots more frequent, longer weekend breaks rather than having a typical 2 to 3 week mega holiday. And our platforms cater for all the different holiday categories, and it de-risks the seasonality effect as well, because we've got winter ski, winter sun across the platform. And that's what our customers really like. You've got traffic coming in all through the year and not just on the season that you're booking your particular holiday. And for the estate agents and holiday parks, or for the holiday parks in particular, there are 100,000 of them in Europe, and there's not one platform out there that does rentals and sales. And if you know the holiday park sector, the key thing where they make all the money is selling the caravans and lodges. And the market leader in the UK, Ho Seasons, funnily enough, they've got 730 parks and they only do rentals. And yet the big ticket, where they make their profits is selling the lodges. And we are the only platform in Europe that does both. And there's 100,000 of them to go at. If we take just 5% of that market, just on the holiday parks alone, that delivers 24 million of MRR, sorry, 24 million of revenue by year 5 in its entirety, without even looking at any other revenue channels. So us, as a team, we are mega excited about the opportunities here. We've got the expertise, the knowledge, and the network to deliver the plan. And what we need is the capital now to go and initiate the marketing to drive high quality traffic to the platforms. And when you can attract blue chip clients, such as we've been discussing with Sotheby's, we're in final discussions this week with Pierre Vacances and all their brands. You're probably familiar with Center Parks. All that product will be coming onto the platforms. We also signed a contract last week with Avantio. That's a distribution partner. That puts us in front of over 800 letting agents across 42 countries worldwide. Again, that delivers product up to 80,000 villas and cottages across the globe, which we can instantly list because it's an automated data feed that we're building.
Thank you, Tony. Unfortunately, your time is up now. Great pitch. Thank you for your questions and advice. And yeah, see you in the networking, Tony.
Okay, look forward to it. Thanks.
Okay, well, firstly, thanks for having us. I'm Martin, and firstly, I'd like you to meet our team. There's Ollie, my brother, Raj, Damien, and Ben. And we're hoping to meet someone we can enjoy working with, and someone who can support us with £535,000 of investment to help us develop our online platform, Buzz. It's the first ever professional media platform for the constantly growing male grooming industry, which is currently valued at $56 billion. Imagine Buzz offers its users the creative bits of Instagram, the professional bits of LinkedIn, and the passionate community of Strava. We launched on iOS and Android last year at the end of the first UK lockdown, and we believe it can generate revenues well in excess of £30 million within 5 years. With over 30 barbershops in our franchise, Ollie and me have been able to analyse and learn about our industry 30 times faster than almost every other barbershop owner. A few years ago, we were talking about all the frustrating parts of the industry and how it just needed to change. Change so that barbers can meet other barbers and develop their careers. So barbershops have better access to barbers and their customers. So brands don't have to spend hours on Google looking for new accounts. And so customers have more insight and control over their entire barbershop experience. Where can I go to get a decent haircut if they're on holiday? What's the queue length right now? If we could bring the industry together onto one platform, we knew it would be really powerful. And that's why we started Buzz, an online platform which connects the world of barbers, where barbershops can reach barbers and their customers, where brands can easily discover new business opportunities, and where customers have more control over their entire barbershop experience. The last 10 years have seen the barbering industry grow faster than any other retail industry on the planet, and it's not going to slow down. Instagram helped create a culture where barbers can easily share their work and where barbershops can reach new customers. But the changing algorithms have made it harder for barbers to find each other, and barbershop posts are reaching fewer and fewer customers. Instagram was never really meant to be a professional platform, but barbers started using it because they just had nowhere else to go. Right now, we can get in front of all the barbers while they're still in one place on Instagram and show them how a new and exciting platform can solve all of their problems. We launched Buzz in June 2020 with the essential functionality needed to make it different from any other platform. We wanted to see if we could use our network to actually build a user base, demonstrate there was a demand for something new, and then learn how the users would behave inside the app. And we were amazed with the response. During the first month, we saw over 1,400 new users. We saw over 5,000 user posts and over 11,000 connections were made. We saw over 70,000 positive endorsements, which is an industry first. Barbers endorsing other barbers. It was absolutely brilliant and everybody absolutely loved it. We currently have nearly 2,500 users from every continent, as well as the support from the biggest names in the industry with a combined reach of over 1.2 million followers, most of who are barbers. When it comes to generating revenues, we've got some really exciting functionality, such as our live user-driven recruitment platform and our customer in-app payment solution, all of which we plan to develop and launch over the next 24 months. Our recruitment platform saw over 400 recruitment alerts in only 3 months, the first 3 months too. So we know there's a huge demand for some of the products that we're offering. But in order to maximize the revenues, we really want to build the user base, and that's where we need your support. We know where our market is, and we know what our market wants, and we know that we've got the team who can reach them. Finally, we wanted to highlight the opportunity we can offer through the millions of customers who will be downloading Buzz. Facebook's active male users are predominantly between the ages of 25 and 34. Our data suggests that the barbershop customers who are going to be downloading Buzz are men from all over the world between the ages of 18 and 65. The major male grooming brands, they're wasting millions of dollars every year trying to find the men who aren't using the existing social media platforms. And we will have them all in one place. Thank you for your time, and we hope you have loads of questions. And if the rest of my team want to come in, hopefully they'll be here. This is the rest of my team. Here's Damien.
Hi everyone, I'm Damien from Buzz.
Hi Damien. I'm happy to go first. Quick question from me. You mentioned that you would be using the funds in order to grow your user base. What's the strategy for doing that?
The strategy?
In order to grow your user base?
Well, the barbering industry is so different to so many other industries that have sort of developed and they've moved away from Instagram onto other professional platforms such as LinkedIn. Here's Raj. He's one of our other partners.
Hey, Raj.
The barbering industry, barbers are fully integrated into Instagram and have been over the last 10 years. And it's only now they're starting to the platform. It just isn't working for the industry for the reasons I said. Right now, barbers, with all due respect, you know, they just sort of like an easy approach to their social media and their sort of portfolio. So at the moment, they're all on Instagram. If they're working in their shops, when there's no customers in there, they're on Instagram. Right now, during lockdown, waiting to reopen, they're all going to be on Instagram. And the industry is such a close-knit industry that almost, well, from what I know, the millions of barbers, they're all following probably only a very small percentage of the barbers that are sort of known as barber celebrities. We know most of the guys who have got following of 80,000, 100,000, even 500,000, one of the guys we know. And probably 90% of their followers are barbers, because barbers tend to follow barbers on Instagram. So that's where we've got this window that we can see where before the barbers realize Instagram isn't working and they sort of migrate off somewhere else, by now they're still all following each other. We've got the support of all these guys. They know what we're doing. They love it. They see the demand. So it's accessing these guys, these influencers, and they've said they're fully prepared to do whatever's needed to get Buzz in front of people and get them seeing what we're doing.
Yeah, that was just going to be my next question. Have you had conversations with them about whether they would be happy to do that? And I guess also when it comes to kind of influencers or just celebrities on Instagram of any form, sometimes the marketing cost up front can really be quite significant. ROI can be quite difficult to track.
Yeah.
How are you going to, I guess, kind of track that to make sure that it's not a black hole of marketing costs that might not be yielding the results that ideally that you want?
In terms of cost for the influencers, again, that's certainly the case in these sort of more established influencer markets that that we see from Love Island and all these great programs. In our industry, the barbers, these guys, they don't have a huge amount of savings, which is why one of the things that we really want as the owners of the franchise, we know hundreds of barbers. We want to see these guys, start taking their profession more seriously, and they all want to do the same. It seems like the industry's moved forward, and now the barbers want to move with it. So they don't have a huge amount of money. So we know the owners of Barber Evo, they're supporting us with this. They're the biggest barber magazine in North America and the UK. And they've already paid some of the biggest influencers to support them. One of them's a guy called A-Rod with over 2 million followers. The guy wanted £1,000 to be on the front cover of Barber Evo. So these guys, they don't want a lot of money. But the guys we know, we've got what are known as the friendly guys of the industry. And these guys have said, look, if they're happy to support us, it's not going to cost a lot. And I guess the plan to track the ROI is just to keep a close eye. Damien's got an incredible system that he's built for us, along with his partner Ben. They're part of the central team, so they're able to track all the numbers real time as they're coming in. So I guess it's just going to be a combination of keeping momentum, focusing our spend, and making sure that we see the user numbers coming in, keeping these guys active.
Thank you.
I hope that's okay, by the way. Thank you for the questions.
Yeah, no, that all makes sense.
All right.
Martin, if I may, so just listening to you, I think that given that you've already got the app out, I reckon you should just get the guys that literally to all download it, and they need to start telling people about it, just so that they start building that usage, because it's live, right? I mean, the beta version is ready. Forgive me, I've got my kids in the background.
Mine's locked in a room upstairs. So.
But yeah, no. So I mean, so the way I see it is, if you have access to all these guys already, then I'd capitalize on that, like now, because at least from an investor perspective, even if you're pre-revenue, that's fine if you've got a huge user base and people are actually engaging on the platform. So my suggestion would be I wouldn't say squeeze them a little bit, but try and get them to start, one, to download it, and two, to actually use the platform to start interacting with other barbers, at least to just start off. And then when you come for the investment, it's much easier to get. That's my suggestion.
Thank you. Yeah. One of the reasons we've sort of chosen to try and slow down the amount of users was simply due to the cost of the development. We want to make sure that we can develop the platform as much as possible, because we're almost so confident that if we do push it, we will just see them joining in there thousands.
Unfortunately, your time is up.
No problem.
You can definitely continue conversations in the network, and great to have you.
Thank you very much.
So we are Alpacr. We're the platform for discovering the world. So there's a big problem right now with people spending over 8 hours researching before booking a trip. Even then, you're still likely to miss out on the best experiences. So that's why we're building Alpacr, the platform for easily discovering the best locations, tours, and experiences specific to your interests anywhere in the world. How does it work? 3 simple features. One is search. There's an interactive world map you can discover anywhere in the world. That could be videos, blogs, tours, experiences, and these are all targeted to your interests. When you find somewhere you like, you can add it to your bucket list, and you pin all the locations you want to go and visit on your bucket list. This brings out the powerful emotion of desire, which is highly addictive, which is what Pinterest is built upon. You also get your daily top 10, which is content for you. This is based on your location data and your interest data. This brings in the daily retention element and the gamification element as well, and brings our users in daily to see the best tools tailored towards them at discounts as well. So we pivoted massively. We're currently a social network around travel and adventure. And whilst building the platform, we realized a huge opportunity that by simplifying it, we can innovate the travel industry directly and use the social networking side to add value to that. We've partnered up with some of the world-leading travel brands, and we've got we're about to bring in over 35,000 tours and experiences. We take a 10% commission and a $2 booking fee. In terms of the market, it's moving more towards one, aggregating, so aggregating the best tours, for example, and two, making life much easier for the consumer. So we do both of those, but take it to the next level. So we aggregate the best videos, blogs, tours, experiences, save a lot of user time. We also bring in the best theories and sort of features from the from the social networking world and use that to innovate the travel industry. We also have a very powerful data set, which we use to maximize our revenue and our retention as well. So the market pre-COVID was the second fastest growing industry in the world. Post-COVID, it's due to have explosive growth. The market's also moving more towards one, mobile bookings, and two, one-stop shop platforms for researching, managing, and booking. So we do both of that, but again, innovate to the next level. So in terms of right now, our traction with the social network, we've got over 10,000 users, an average of 8 minutes in-app time per user, and over 16,000 blogs and videos. I've had a crazy startup journey to date. This is myself in Silicon Valley, where I was living in a garage in Palo Alto, and we were raising investment out there. We've won awards with Sir Richard Branson. We've launched all over Europe and Southeast Asia. We've won a number of awards as well, and on a few accelerator programs, and raised pre-seed investment of £365,000. Right now, we're raising our seed round. Using that, we're looking to really innovate to exact product market fit and relaunch the platform around May when the travel industry is due to explode again. And towards the end of the year, raise our Series A. In terms of the team, I was named in the top 10 entrepreneurs under 25 in the UK. My co-founder has 14 years experience in leading multi-million-dollar software projects. Our non-exec is Tyler. He's the former CEO of Yik Yak, a social app worth $400 million after 1 year. So very, very strong team overall. We also have a strong team of board advisors and investors. One of them is Sean, who is the CEO of One Life Adventures, which is the world-leading travel brand. So we're currently raising our seed round of £600,000 at a 2.9 mil pre-money valuation. It gives us a 12 to 18-month runway. Use of funds is predominantly in development, but also in marketing as well. So that is us. So thank you very much.
I'm just going to jump in first. Can you tell me how you got to your pre-money valuation?
Yeah, so we used Equidam, which is a US-based valuation system. So we use them as well as our, we've already got investors committed at this valuation. And we based it on the average valuation of startups in the UK and added the, sort of the team and a few other strong points of ours to reach that valuation. But we've already got investors committed to that valuation, so we're happy with it.
And they're committed on the basis of convertible notes?
No, we're raising for straight equity.
So direct equity with a UK entity, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worry.
I'm happy to jump in next. Hey, Dan, thanks for the pitch. I literally just did a 10-page memo on your market. So this is one I feel like I can actually comfortably talk about for once. I'd love to understand how you managed to get 35 tour providers online, because one of the biggest issues I found in this market is that 80% of operators are offline and they make a lot of their business through phone calls, through in person. So yeah, how have you found getting 35,000 online, and how difficult do you sense it will be getting more, growing that?
Yeah, so the 35,000 is the tours themselves. So not just the company, but the actual tours and experiences. So we've partnered with a company called Livin, and they basically aggregate them and bring in the booking API. So we basically connect that with our platform and we bring them in, and obviously use our machine learning and data analytics to target to our users. So for us to expand that, we simply have to go to the companies we want to bring on, and we can just bring them on through Livin. So it's quite an easy process to expand that to 40, 50,000 afterwards.
Yeah, what I would say is I would look into some of the guys. Resdy is a marketplace I'm sure you've heard of.
Yeah.
Fair Harbor, Checkpoint, a lot of these. So I spoke to a lot of those guys as part of the DD process, and the way that they're getting tour operators on, so that 80% that I mentioned is currently offline, is really kind of through guerrilla marketing. It's kind of bombarding them with messages to get them on. So one thing I would just say is it's such a fragmented market, and I would definitely think about how kind of foresee going beyond that 35,000. It's I think probably one of the biggest challenges in this market, and I would definitely consider what your strategy would be in terms of getting more operators on board in the future.
Okay, just quickly on that. So yeah, we're looking to partner up with Fairharbour and Resdi. So we actually utilize all their tools. So they're doing the hard guerrilla tactics of aggregating them on, and then we just plug it into our platform and then bring it through. So they're doing the bulk of that hard work. We're just aggregating them and bringing them onto our platform.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
Dan, are you out of interest? You're pre-revenue, right?
Correct.
Cool. And launch is due May of this year. Well, assuming that lockdown allows you to do that, obviously.
Yeah, the new launch. Yeah, we're currently live as a social network. We're pivoting to the new launch, which will be around May. But we can just A/B test and until the relaunch has properly happened to the travel industry. Yeah.
Cool. And how many people? Because you kind of have the social networks already live, right?
Yeah.
So how many users have you got on there currently, apart from the 35,000 tours to what you're pivoting to? Like how many users?
Yeah, so users right now is just over 10,000.
Cool. Thank you. And what's follow-on question? What's the daily active number of users roughly?
We usually do monthly active. Basically, the platform right now is it's like Instagram but travel blogging. So our users go on there, they upload all their content. It's not really daily active kind of platform.
That's fair enough.
So yeah, we're seeing about between 5 and 10% active every month. So 500,000. But yeah, that's just the nature of the platform as it is now. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
And just out of curiosity, are there any specific geographies that you're targeting?
Yeah, the main few are the UK, Europe, also New Zealand, and then after that going to the US and Canada.
Just to wrap up, because I'm sure we're about to run out of time. Is it quite wide, as in US versus UK and Europe, or is it more? Yeah, I guess I'll just leave the question there.
Yeah, as a social network, pretty much wide all over the world. The main regions being North America and Europe. But with the pivot, obviously, we're going to be targeting more direct, places rather than broadly as we are right now. Yeah.
Correct. Cool. Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, judges, for the questions again, and great pitch, Dan. Up next is Ivan from Sam Entertainment.
All right, we're Sam. Sam is a private community space to connect, interact, and share content. I would like to start by asking you, what were the best moments in your life? I would be very surprised if anyone in here is thinking about spreadsheets, meetings, or expensive purchases they've made. My best moments were always connected with people. People I had so much fun with, laughing, dancing, and just fooling around. But you know where the fun ends? When you have to chase all the snapshots people have taken. I've never seen anyone enjoying that. When you have to register to another platform, remember another password, and read another privacy policy. Isn't that annoying? The fun ends when you miss out because you didn't approach this cool person in the first place. So what if there was just one app covering all those needs effortlessly? And this is exactly where SAM comes in, the all-in-one hybrid event app. At SAM, we care about three things: connecting, collecting, and protecting. So first, we use technology to connect people instantly. We make sure you get to know each other in a very playful way. Second, we provide the simplest way to collect photos and videos of all participants. You'll save time and you'll get the best quality. Third, we do care about privacy. So we build a safe environment for our customers. At SAM, we make sure you can focus on having a good time. I would like to go 3 years back, because in 2018, something very interesting happened. Millennials started to get married. So we saw that and we immediately jumped on that opportunity. We launched our platform in Switzerland and Germany. So we gained 12,000 events in the first year, and we went from 12 to 35,000 events in the second year, with just bootstrapping. Last year, COVID slowed things down, but it didn't stop us. So we had If you look at Q4, we were able to double registration compared to the previous year. We aim for over 120,000 this year and over 4,000. We won't stop until we are the global market leader for all event types. Birthdays, weddings, festivals, bachelor parties, you name it. If we have a closer look at the B2C sector, which is interesting for us, you'll immediately see that the event space is worth 900 billion. With network effects and organic growth, we will be able to get a big stake. But where are we at right now? We have a strategic partnership with Google and Amazon because they believe in our platform. By now, we have over 330,000 app users with a 4.5-star rating. We have figured out a go-to-market strategy, which is cheap and fast, and we are revenue positive in our key markets where we launched. You might be wondering how we make money. So over the past 2 years, we've tried to figure out 3 revenue streams that work out for us now. So first, we sell premium features based on microtransaction. Our customers are able to pay as they go. Secondly, to monetize on the free users in collaboration with Google.
You know, your 4 minutes is up. You can keep going, but it would just eat into your judge's time.
Okay, so I'll be fast. For the free users, we'll have programmatic advertising. And lastly, we have a B2B pipeline to integrate services into our platform. So we just signed a contract 5 days ago. In a nutshell, we can say by 2023, we'll expect an upside of 6.5 of our acquisition costs for the event. In order to get there, we need a perfect team. So I think our edge is the right combination between marketing experience, industry network, and some crazy developers who have scaled platforms before. So what we're asking, this year, we want to raise a fund of 800,000 to 1.2 million in order to enter new markets, acquire additional partners, and hire the best talents. And we won't stop until we have 150 million app users by 2025, which will result in 92 million revenue. Let me close with this. Today, there is no single platform which offers all-in-one service, fast, cheap. Make social events remarkable together. I think everyone deserves to have fun. Thank you.
I get that it's an app, but how does it work? Like, how do you do weddings, for instance? Like, yeah.
Okay, so what we did, we created a platform which is accessible via QR code or deep link. So you will get access without registration. You basically set up the account and you invite all your participants. And from that moment on, you're able to interact with each other in a playful way and then share content with each other.
I wanted to ask, what's your marketing strategy? I know it's a very sort of like high level question, but for any social media type of app and events app, it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the past 2 years, we've used a lot of social media and Google to enter into those markets, and we've been figuring out the cheapest acquisition cost. So we jumped around from one to the other. What we're seeing now is organic growth. You have to imagine every customer of ours will bring at least additional 50 customers because they kind of force the people at their events to use the app. So we'll see organic growth from there. In addition, we're working with partners, onboard partners from industries.
Thank you.
Hi, Ivan. Thanks for the quick question from me. How have you found user stickiness and engagement?
I think that's a very good question. I mean, we started with just weddings, you know? So what we expected in the beginning is to see a higher churn rate than we actually got. So what we saw that people were sticking around. So we thought, okay, I mean, the wedding is just the entry point into millennials' life for us. So we want to keep them there. We figured out subscription is not the right model, but we have to make sure that they can add additional events to their platform. So in 2019, we built a multi-event functionality. So you have to imagine that our customers have now, they can switch from one event to the other. So whoever made a great experience with our platform is going to use it for additional events in the future.
And are you seeing that reflect in user numbers and user engagement, that users that are using it for weddings are then also going to use it with corporate events? Because I guess in my head, I don't know whether I would want to open an event at a wedding if I associate that with work, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, fair point. What we're seeing is basically, that's very interesting. As soon as we launch a market, and we're mostly active across Europe, it takes a year to see that organic effect. So in our key markets, which are for now the strongest is Switzerland and Germany, we see that a lot of people use it even for corporate events. So we have a lot of major brands in Switzerland using the app already. And it's basically people who made a great experience, and they're going to reuse it, kind of.
Unfortunately, the time is all up.
Thanks.
I'm sure you can get the judges after it, but it was a great pitch.
Thank you very much.
Up next, we have Carlos from Hoop Carpool.
I'm Carlos. I'm the co-founder of Hoop Carpool. So it's a pleasure to be here. Hoop was born because we have identified a common theme in all big cities in the world, and it's that commuting to work every day is a problem, and especially for those who live or work in the peripheries of cities. But the question is, okay, why? What is a problem? So first, because public transport has poor connections between different peripheries, and second, because using your own vehicle is a huge spend, spending 3,000 euros per year on average. And third, because car sharing and other mobility alternatives don't reach most peripheries. So you can see this clearly in the map, that there is a market gap for Hoop, as the existing alternative for commuting are not optimal for many people who has to go alone by car, generating 7.5 million free seats daily in a city like Madrid. So how do we solve this commuting problem? We connect drivers and passengers who live and work nearby so they can share the daily trips by car. So it's like BlaBlaCar, but for daily commutes in big cities. And to make carpooling a real alternative for mobility, technology is one of the key points. We have been studying the needs of the users for a year now, and we have improved our app to make it awesome. It allows people to set up their weekly routines easily, both for drivers and passengers, and then our algorithm connects them based on the route and schedule. So now, how do we reach our users? We select strategic areas in cities and partner with big companies, universities, and city halls to promote carpooling in that specific area. What we get is a lot of people who share an origin and destination, and at the same time. On top of that, we combine this strategy with B2C campaigns in that area, and we have a matching department being as close as possible always to the users. So the business model, how do we make money? The first one, we have two of them. The first one is a peer-to-peer, where the passengers pay the drivers and we take a 10% commission. And additionally, we charge a monthly fee to companies to manage the marketing strategy of carpooling for the employees, plus the delivery of monthly reports quantifying the positive impact of this activity. About the roadmap, in 2019, we launched our first MVP. We did a pilot test with a couple companies, and we raised 200K, which allow us to hire an experienced team development to improve the product. In 2020, COVID arrived, and mobility in cities completely stopped, as everyone knows. And we took this time to redesign our app and develop a new version of it. At the same time, we identified a B2B opportunity, and we closed more than 20 agreements in Madrid. And lastly, despite having suffered a 9-month break, we did 250 search trips, and we got new 5,000 users. So in 2021, we will be able to make the most out of all these agreements that we have closed, that you can see here in the image. and of course, those to come in the next year. So in 2021, we are raising 300K, and we want to invest our resources first in marketing for B2C campaigns, in business development to increase our sales team, and in product to add new functionalities and APIs that allow us to integrate with other MaaS platforms. And with all of that, we want to reach almost 50 partners and 200K shared trips by the end of the year. So to sum up, mobility is changing more than ever, and our vision is to become the global company that will lead the transition from private vehicle usage to shared autonomous cars. And as you can see, carpooling is a great opportunity worldwide, which is also being seen by other big players like Waze, BlaBlaCar, or Scoop. And on top of that, there are numerous exit options in the future, as there is a clear trend in mobility ecosystem to group up the maximum number of services under one company, as could be the case of Uber or BlaBlaCar. So thank you so much.
Hi, Carlos. I'm just going to dive right in there because I'm an impact investor and I'm particularly interested in this. So can you tell me first how you reward people for protecting the environment? Second, do you have any plans in place to implement security protocols with regards to reducing risk to your riders? And third, how are you going to manage your impact? How are you going to measure and manage? What is your impact reporting strategy?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first question about how is the rewards is the same model as BlaBlaCar. Passengers pay drivers, and they take a 10% commission. And on top of that, companies and universities are investing in their own employees, and they are offering discounts in which is sometimes cheaper for passengers, or they even get special prices from the company for their activity. And second, you mentioned about the security, right? About how we check everything in the platform. They sign up with the mobile phone, and then to check if they belong to a company or not, what we do is they provide their corporate email, and then we send them a link, and if they click it, they are logged in. So we check that they belong to that company, and especially in areas like South America, in which the market is huge, but security and safety is a concern. It works really well. And the last question was regarding the
impact reporting. How do you measure and manage your impact? How do you plan on reporting on your impact?
Yeah, what we do is we ask the users, more concisely, we ask the passengers how they usually go to work or to university. If it's by car, we ask them to include the kind of car based on the Euro standard or the Spanish standard or French. There are many others. And based on that, we calculate the number of cars that are reduced in the road. And then this is the data that we provide to companies. And for them, is key because nowadays they work with the Sustainable Development Goals, and they can add it to their annual reports.
Carlos, one last thing. So this is more feedback. With regards to your raise, rather than spending the money on marketing, spend it on impact assessments. So if you take the B impact assessment, you measure and manage your impact in alignment with global standards, such as those established by B Lab and IRIS impact metrics, implement them in the way that your company actually operates. So instead of just looking at the impact of those individual rides or the behavioral change, that impact, implement impact business models into the way you do business, start sharing that story with the impact of your product, and that will effectively reduce risk when it comes to how you market, where you spend that marketing budget on. So instead of just looking to pay for Facebook ads or pay for other types of digital marketing, if you share a story that's actually real, back it up with verified data that's verified by third parties, that is a much better marketing spend to spend it on getting verified by B Lab than spending it on advertising. Thank you, Carlos.
Yeah, we focus a lot on sustainability, and it's true that many of our partnerships that we already
have. Everyone's talking sustainability now, but you need to verify it, right? Everyone's talking about the SDGs, and everyone's trying to greenwash their decks and basically just talk about sustainability. Sustainability can also be taken as sustaining the way things have always been done. So what are you going to do different? What is different about you? What's unique about you? What are you changing? What kind of change are you creating? Show me the change. Verify it. Have an independent third party verify that change, right? Have B Lab do it. Have a partner that is experienced in working with the GIN's IRIS impact metrics. Verify the data through your tech as well, right? And then show people, look, this is what sets us apart. This is how we're different than everybody else who's claiming to be making a difference.
Okay, thank you so much. Awesome feedback.
Hey, Carlos. I'm not sure whether we're almost out of time. Those are great questions and feedback from Miriam. I guess one point that that I found almost quite surprising is that you're focusing on large cities. And the reason for that is in my city anyway, of London, getting from A to B is pretty simple, and there's probably about 10 ways of doing it. However, getting from my parents' house in Cambridgeshire to 20 miles down the road is pretty much impossible if you don't have a car. And that's kind of where I saw there being a real need for this. Are you considering kind of more rural areas as opposed to cities that already have a lot of competition, such as Uber Pool or other public transport?
Yeah, it's a good point. We are focusing on big cities and the surrounding of these big cities because, for example, we have many cities near Madrid that we have trips from there back and forth, and as well from little towns in the surroundings. And for that specific topic is because in big cities is where we find that we have enough critical mass in order to make carpooling a possible thing. And comparing to other solutions, as I mentioned in the beginning, most of them are really focused on the city center, and it's not even they don't are in the surroundings that are not so far. Like in 20 minutes by car, you cannot take it by car sharing or any other. And public transport is really good for connecting the surrounding with the city center, but not connecting to peripheries where many people live here and work here, because not many companies and people live in the city center. So that's why we decided to.
I'm gonna have to stop you there.
Okay.
It's a great pitch, great questions, judges, great questions.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Carlos. And finally, we have Matt from Borrow a Boat up next.
Okay, guys, Borrow a Boat. Let me tell you about Borrow a Boat. It's Britain's leading boat charter marketplace. We're often called the Airbnb for boats, or the Booking.com for boats. We list over 35,000 boats for charter worldwide, all types of boats, sailboats, catamarans, ribs, speedboats, you name it. We've been going for a few years now. We've raised a bit of capital. We've raised 3.3 to date, not including our current raise, which is live on Cedars. I'm the sole founder of the business. I'm a serial entrepreneur with 3 businesses previously to this one, mostly in the clean tech renewables space. I'm an engineer by background, but innovation is the theme of most of the businesses I founded. This was innovative in the first instance because we were the first business in the UK to allow peer-to-peer charter to take place. That never happened before. So we allowed private boat owners to list their boats for charter and for people to pay to use them when the boats weren't being used by their owners. And it helped to pay for boating, helped to monetize underutilized assets. So we launched the business with that idea, the premise being central to it back in late 2016. Since then, Borrow a Boat has kind of become something more than that. A lot of the fleets have all wanted to list on Borrow a Boat, and we've realized that the boat charter world was lacking a marketplace for browsing charter location on holiday or for boating holidays or near to where you live. So we've sort of become that, and we've now found ourselves in this race, part of a small number of companies to become the biggest boat charter marketplace in the world, with about 4 or 5 others. So it's been very interesting. This is the summary slide. 2020 has been challenging, but we've made a lot of strides forward with the tech in the meantime, even though we've had intermittent trading at times. And we're now raising a convertible loan note round compatible with the Future Fund, which is live on Cedars only for a few more days. We're currently overfunding, but it's still there. Well, let me tell you a bit more about us. My background, as I mentioned, serial entrepreneur. I'm the sole founder of the business. We've got a great COO with a lot of digital experience. Who's the right guy. I hired this guy in the last year. He's got a lot of digital aggregator marketplace experience in particular. Former managing director of gambling.com, expanded it to the US last year. It's the right guy for the next stage of growth as we're about to expand the business to 8 new countries this year. The international context is we've got 2 large French competitors, 2 large American competitors, a German one, and they're prominent competitors. And it's widely predicted that there is going to be a unicorn out of the space in the next sort of 5 years. And in 5 years' time, there'll be very few marketplaces, probably just like we've seen it happen in other Airbnb, Booking.com type spaces. It will be consolidated down, but that's not happened at all yet. Here, the market's automotive, I guess, and no one's cornered the market or is leading it yet. So there's an opportunity. Click and Boat in Paris are demonstrating the scale of the business model with a valuation in the region of 300 million. Take M&A or IPO. Things we've got, they're a big part of the market which is very hard to get into. We've got central agents, and we list over 3,000 of these worldwide, and they have very high average order value, above our normal average order values. That's just one of the things we think we do better than competitors, and why we think we can actually carry. 2020 trading, admitting it wasn't as good a year for us as 2019, where we did around 1 million of charters. Sorry, it's 4 minutes is up. Okay. Last thing I'm going to say then, we're expanding to 8 new countries in 2021. USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. We're launching into all of those. That's what we're raising capital for. We're raising up to 1 million. We've got about 500,000 already committed. And it's live on Seedrs. And we're also open to discussing with any funds. We're all one VC on board so far, and open to discussing any further investment with anyone who might be interested.
Hi, Matt. Hopefully you can hear me. Great pitch, great traction so far. You're raising 1 million, and that's just so that I heard it right. This is to expand into the 8 new markets. What's the current valuation for the convertible? What are the terms?
I'm afraid I didn't hear the question.
Oh, it was around valuation.
Valuation,
It was
yeah,
valuation.
was 7.3.
Terms and
valuation
conditions.
was 7.3 million post money when we raised. We've done 3 CrowdCube rounds in the past. This is our first Seedrs round. We have a VC on board as well, Edition Capital. They led the last 2 rounds. And we've done a one-off round this time because its future fund is on the table from the government. We're taking advantage of that to do it's like a bridge round, really. A smaller raise than we've done in the past. So last time we raised 1.3. Well, the time before that we raised 1.5, but this time it's just up to 1 million. But we're already around 500,000. We're only just going to see if we can top it up in the next week or so. If any interested angels are on here or funds.
What's your current burn rate?
Roughly? Burn rate roughly around. We've significantly dropped the burn rate since the COVID pandemic here. Got rid of our London office and reduced the team size from about 15 down to about 7 or 8. Is roughly about 35k a month burn rate. We've got a runway now of well over 12 months. We've got we get good R&D tax credit refunds every year. We've got good cash in the bank, and this is a top-up raise really for us, for working capital, so that we can concentrate on launching in the 8 new countries without having to worry about raising capital partway through the year, and give us more ammunition for the marketing plan for each country. So there's an SEO plan, digital plan for each country. So, a new website for every country is the way you do it. So we've got borrowboat.com for USA. There'll be a new Borrow Boat with a USA configured page, USA content, USA prioritized, Chesapeake Bay, New York, Miami, Florida, boating areas, content for each one of those, digital PR all across the USA, giving us organic Google rankings in the USA. Then we'll have targeted digital ads in the USA. And we'll do all of that for USA. Then we'll do all of that for Canada, all of that for Australia, all of that for New Zealand. We could do it all from the UK. We just have to increase our customer service time, but we don't have to set up offices in these countries. But then we can be in 9 countries, and we'll be growing in 9 countries instead of 1. And that gives you an exponential rate of growth, much faster than one market. And this is how our competitors have managed to scale into the hundreds of millions, and we're kind of following their footsteps it's a natural next step for a digital business to do that. And we're on the cusp of a lot of growth, basically. That's why it's a good time for anyone to come in. We can expect a big ROI within the next 2 to 3 years as we go into all these new countries.
Hi, Matt. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but in general, for a company that has raised over 3 million in the past, I would be slightly careful about the cap table and the founders' ownership, because I would want to make sure that there's a long-term motivational structure And what I see with companies that have done with quite big rounds in the past is that the founders get diluted a lot, and at some point they lose motivation. So from that perspective, you just need to make sure that there are enough mechanisms to ensure that, first of all, you're motivated, and secondly, that your team and your employees will be motivated to win the long-term game.
Yeah, I had a similar point to Pavel, really. One of the first things I saw was that they'd raised 3.3 million previously. So I'd probably recommend just addressing that point head on, and so that it doesn't leave questions in the investor's mind as to whether this is a bridge round or whether it's kind of a post-seed, or just clearing that up at the very beginning. And then I think just a point that I had written down from in my notes was remove 80% of the text from the deck. But I think that's just generally around kind of just cleaning the deck up a little bit and making it a little bit less dense.
Great feedback. Miriam, did you have any additional?
Just more so about the due diligence process. I do believe that they will run into hiccups in due diligence because of that prior raise. So any effort that can be made to make as much information as transparent as possible with regards to what happened with that funding, what the current valuation is, what is it based on, what's the growth strategy, how far would they like to take this company, is an IPO being planned, and if it is, how much more capital is required to get there, and have they delivered the expected rates of return to those initial investors.
And specifically, since he's doing, a crowd fund, I assume that means he's trying to get some angel commitments. Did you guys have any tips for him around angel? Is his deck angel worthy right now? And if not, what kind of changes would he need to be making to make his deck kind of angel worthy?
Reduce the risk, because because of that prior raise, right? What happened, and did they deliver the expected rate of return? If not, why not? And what's different now? So if I were to put in, let's say, $100,000 of my own money as an angel investor, why should I expect a return that the prior investors didn't get? It's quite simple. Add one thing. So I think with this huge expansion plan, it's really going to be crucial to establish what exactly it is that would make someone use your platform in the US and Canada. So you've got to align with Canadian best practices and governance standards, especially if you're looking to make it to IPO. Look at US public company governance standards that apply to both the US and Canada. Look at what are some of the baseline standards that Canadian funders and the Canadian public is looking for, because rather than spending funding on PR and SEO, look at what the consumer is looking for. So, for example, benefit corporations, benefit corp certification, two different things, ESG related governance standards. What exactly are consumers looking for? What kind of a story do they want to hear? Because nobody right now wants to hear a story about luxury boats. They want to know, why would they rent a boat from you as opposed to another company? What is it that sets you apart from the competition, and what kind of a direct benefit are you going to be adding to Canadian and US community through your business?
Sure. What I would say is that, so this is a large, mature industry. It's a $20 billion global annual industry, the boat rental market, and it's massive, and it has a lot of problems. That there's a lack of marketplaces to browse the market. It's very, very fragmented. There's a lack of good pricing, flexibility in the market, a lot of very rigid rentals, 7 days only, for example, high prices. So we're basically helping the boater, which is the same problem in Canada and USA as they have in Europe, in accessing it like they do browse properties and book holidays nowadays and book flights via Google Flights and Skyscanner. The consumer wants that kind of choice and flexibility in this market when it doesn't exist. So we're bringing that internet age marketplace solution to an industry that doesn't have it. So that's the problem we're solving, and we're helping the boater at the same time as we're helping the charter companies because they get more access to customers. We're helping people who sell boats because we've got peer-to-peer boating, so you can list your boat on borrowboat.com when you're not sailing it. We help marinas because it gets more footfall into marinas. So the boat industry likes us a lot. We were the headline sponsor of the UK's biggest boat show in Southampton in 2019. It was the Borrow Boat Southampton Boat Show. The industry likes us and sees us as a route to growth for the whole of boating.